Hi everyone, this is my Polish heritage. Here is my story about how my great-grandfather came from Poland to America to find more opportunities and a better life. My great-grandfather would eventually change his name from Chester Rapchevas to Chester James Jackson in order to find a better job and to avoid discrimination. The next few slides will be discussing some background history on my great-grandfather. My great-grandfather worked many different jobs. He was able to have many job opportunities because he moved to America. He was one of 14 children. He has 12 grandchildren and now has over 30 great-grandchildren, me being one of them. He was born on a boat that would bring him and his family over from Poland to the United States in 1899. Although we still aren't exactly sure what part of Poland they were originally from. But some family members say Western Poland. When he arrived to America, he would live in Trenton, New Jersey until he married my great-grandmother, Mary Hutton, where they would move and settle down in Princeton, New Jersey. Chester would work a few different jobs in his lifetime. This is a picture of my great-grandfather in his early 20s boxing. Chester is on the right. He started out as a pro boxer in the lightweight category. He was badly knocked out by a champion in an exhibition fight. My grandfather, James Hutton Jackson, one of Chester's sons, thought it might have been by Mickey Walker, which is a famous boxer. After the knockout, my great-grandmother, Mary Hutton, insisted that he stopped fighting. So, when he stopped fighting, he decided he would teach boxing. He had a gym in the basement of their house in Princeton where he instructed many of the elite's sons, including FDR's sons. And this is how he was able to coach and teach boxing at the Hun School. He would retire from the New Jersey Telephone Company, and in 1980, he passed away as the equipment manager for Princeton, New Jersey. The reason my family, the Rapchevises, came to America was because they needed to make money. They were considered low-class citizens, even called peasants in Poland. In Grudy's Globalization, Spirituality, and Justice, he talks about how in the United States, many people go to bed hungry, without proper care, education, clothing, and housing. Grudy also tells us that every hour, 840 children die from poverty, hunger, easily preventable diseases, and illnesses. This is equivalent to a tsunami every 11 days. And although I do not know any of my relatives that have died from a lack of necessities, this is still a huge issue. Without future generations, how is the world supposed to keep evolving and growing? My ancestors were forced to speak English. They would be criticized if they weren't able to speak or understand the English language. They wouldn't be able to have jobs if they didn't know English. In Wiley's Language in the USA article, he talks about Heinz Claus as a problematic figure because of his extensive historical analyses have generally been considered foundational reasoning in understanding the history of U.S. language policies and have been widely cited by American scholars. Claus began his work in Germany under Nazi state sponsorship during the 1930s, but he would later win language rights as a fundamental human right. Prior to coming to America, Polish immigrants were attracted to the high salaries, but quickly found out they would not be considered as equal. Polish-American immigration is divided into three different waves. The first and largest wave was from 1870 to 1914. The second was after World War II, and the third was after Poland's independence in 1989. Most Polish Americans descended from the first wave. This was because immigrants were most likely considered low-class citizens in Poland who did not own land and lacked basic substance. My family also came from the first wave. The government gave job opportunities that didn't involve skills. The Poles were forced into paying low jobs that the government thought suited them. There were stereotypes that considered Poles to be stupid. This is where the word Polak comes from and is often paired with the word dumb. They were marginalized because they could not speak English, were Roman Catholic, and accused of taking jobs that would be filled by people who already had been living in America. Stereotypes formed that Poles were only good for mining, meatpacking, construction, steelwork, and heavy industry, basically jobs that didn't require any education. Polish people were usually at the receiving end of jokes, most of which referring to their subhuman intelligence and to their difficult to spell and pronounce last names. How can we prevent racism? We can implement diverse culture subjects into education, diminish any stereotypes, provide programs for students and parents to teach and understand that all people are human beings and are equal no matter where they come from or the language that they speak. The newer generations of many immigrants, especially the Poles, have taken many steps into eliminating all negative stereotypes. In recent history, Poles haven't been the center of attention in respect to being discriminated against as much anymore, because there are several other cultures that are now looked down upon. In schools, teachers want their students to become global citizens who can successfully engage with an increasingly diverse world. There are many things we can do to prevent racism, especially in our schooling systems. Teachers and parents can expose students to a variety of people and environments. They can take them on field trips and go to ethnic festivals or even go to ethnic grocery stores and boutiques. My great-grandfather dropped out of school when he was 8 years old. He could only write his name until his later years. This is considered a risk factor because it hampered learning in school solely based off the fact that he stopped going to school at the age of 8 years old. There were no enforcers to make children go to school, especially immigrant children. They didn't see a need to go to school. It's basically don't ask, don't tell. The role of education is very different nowadays. It is now to give people the knowledge and confidence to make themselves useful in society. Education helps implement values, attitudes, and behaviors. It allows for the right to find a proper paying job, prepares people for the work life, and also can decrease the risk of poverty. In order to be able to take kids on field trips, it is important that they are educated on the culture. So they must do reading and research on the culture that they are about to embrace. Teachers and parents should encourage students to ask appropriate questions to all people that they meet. Thank you, and I hope you enjoyed my story. Have a good day.